Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin-yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Friday, January 13th, 9 p.m. Mountain Time, 2023. Hunga Tonga Volcano may become the first volcano in the entire geologic history of Earth to warm the planet. But the big story, at least 7 dead after destructive tornadoes hit Alabama. Keep calm. It's boom time. Authorities are finding more bodies. The coroner says after 35 tornadoes reportedly struck the South and left at least 7 for dead, the destruction is palpable. Northern California forecast preparing for rain, more rain. And impact day is Saturday due to the heavy snowfall. We're going to get to the forecast in just a moment.
You track all of this from the...
So stay tuned for more boom. Now, a series of storms is expected to dump several feet of snow through the holiday weekend at Tahoe, and the Weather Service is strongly discouraging travel. And you can see here why. A flipped car in Truckee on January 11th as a string of storms hits California, and many of the roads connecting the coast to Tahoe have been, well, just cut off. And it's due to heavy snow, so let's come over and check out the snowfall analysis. Here we're looking at the 72-hour total snowfall for the West. And the good news is that there has been a reduction. In fact, the last 24 hours has seen quite the precipitous drop-off. But the snow is going to be picking up once again. And here's the forecast. Another active weather weekend for the West Coast and California. Another active weather week is in store for the West Coast, especially saturated California. As yet another surge of atmospheric river moisture arrives, heavy and excessive rainfall, flooding, possible mudslides and landslides, heavy mountain snow, and gusty winds. Can you believe it? Sounds like a broken record. All of these things are expected for the next few days as another atmospheric river storm system is expected to reach California Sunday through Monday, which will be their fun day, with similar weather hazards developing that have been seen over the last few weeks. Here you can see some light rain and precipitation in the form of snow. Here is your Saturday, and then Saturday night into Sunday, it's boom time. Sunday morning is going to be heavy precipitation in the Sierra Crest. It's looking insane, and that's going to linger on all through Sunday into Monday. As the system drops down Sunday into Monday into the Four Corners region, and we should be picking up our heaviest total Sunday night into Monday. We're expecting 16 inches over the next few days through Tuesday in our neck of the woods. Now let's take a look at the snowfall totals day by day. Here is Saturday. Sunday, the snow is going to be picking up heavy in the Sierras and dropping down to the Four Corners region. Here are the totals by Monday morning. So if you're in the Show Low region, you should be picking up some snow, ho-ho. If you're in the Four Corners, you're actually going to be picking up snow at the Four Corners Monument, maybe up to an inch. Places like Archaeology County could be seeing 16 widespread areas of 16 inches of snow. And the system is going to move up through the southern Appalachians this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So that's your fun day for the weekend in the Appalachians. Good news there. Now, we're going to have a system moving here through the Upper Plains Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a second system later in the week is going to strip right through the center of the continent there. Take a look at that. And we could see some heavy snow in the Texas Panhandle coming in January 22nd and 23rd. Now, that's 10 days out, but Texas is the nexus of the schmexus, so we wanted to point that out. Now, Sydney's longest spell of days below 30 C in 140 years has just occurred. It was cold in 2022 across Australia with many daily months and even all-time records that fell. 2023 has started in the same chilly vein. Sydney is on the verge of recording its longest spell of days below 30 degrees Celsius in 140 years, dating all the way back to 1883. Holy macaroni. And we've got more news. Asia's record-breaking Arctic outbreak reaches the Indian Ocean. Alerts are issued in India, China, and Taiwan. The big freeze to return to Europe just in time for Davos could spell trouble. as the U.S. is going to be pummeled again later in the month with cold. Take a look at Europe. It's a snow ho ho forecast. Shut up, Al! He says he has European connections. But I do digress. There is going to be widespread snow in many of the regions complaining they have not seen the global warming goodness. And it could be in, well, catastrophic amounts, especially northern Spain. It's insane. So we'll wait to see what happens there, as well as the northern continent of Africa, which is expected to get quite some snow in the coming weeks. Seismic update. There are no quakes of note. All is looking quiet on the Western Front, but we do have some space weather activity to be talking about in just a moment, so stay tuned for more boom. Here we are at the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, and overall there has been a drop down in earthquakes over the last several weeks, which is good news. St. Helens has dropped down to just 23 earthquakes in the last 30 days, with a peak as much as 45 earthquakes in the last 6 months. Rainier, only 8 earthquakes in the last 30 days. Almost nothing happening at any of the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest over the last week. So that's good news that we can bring to you. Now, some fake news. Tonga volcanic eruption. Let's just move this over a little teensy bit so you can read that. Tonga volcanic eruption raises imminent risk of temporary 1.5C breach in temperature. This sums it all up about lamestream science, Scientology, and the fact that articles can be published under the guise of so-called journalism here. This is coming from Carbon Brief, Clean on the Climate. This article is summarizing an actual paper. Now, we can't even believe this, but here's the paper. Tonga eruption increases chances of temporary surface temperature anomaly above 1.5C. Now, the nomenclature in all volcanic eruptions we know in recorded history have reduced the temperature on the planet, including, let's say, Pinatubo. The Pinatubo eruption reduced temperature quite precipitously. Let's pull that up. And here we can just pulled up the chart on the Pinatubo cooling, and it is obvious that after the eruption of Mount Pinatubo, we had about a 0.5 degree C drop down in temperature that lasted for about a year. Which is the norm for volcanoes. But this is the first time in history that a volcanic eruption will cause heating on Earth. This is how disingenuous and unscientific these people are. They're claiming that the difference is that the cooling events occur because of sulfur dioxide and other particulates that get shot up into the stratosphere, which then cause the albedo effect and reflect light up into space and cool the planet. Well, in this paper, they're claiming that the large amount of water vapor that is shot up into the stratosphere will actually coat the Earth in a warming blanket that will keep the heat in. Now, this is the entire nonsense claim of global warming in general, that a tiny 0.04% of our atmosphere, if it increases a little bit, is going to warm the planet because it's going to act as a blanket. That's not how it works. In fact, the work of Svensmark and the cloud experiment proved that galactic cosmic rays nucleate clouds. Clouds are made of water vapor. Water vapor in the form of clouds cools the Earth due to the albedo effect. So this massive amount of water vapor is going to do exactly what it has always done, reflect sunlight back into space and cool the Earth. How in the world funding for this paper in Nature Climate Change was doled out by the government, and then this peer-reviewed article that's a scientific paper was published in Nature Climate Change even occurred, should scare the bejesus out of you. We are living in a dystopian world where scientific papers do not tell you anything scientific. What they do tell you is everything propagandic. This is 100% pure propaganda. Hunga Tonga is not going to heat the planet and cause a spike in the temperature of 1.5 C. In fact, It has begun to cool the planet. Look at the latest December temperature of the global lower atmosphere on planet Earth, just 0.05 degrees C above the 30-year annual baseline. There has been a 0.4 degrees C cooling in the last 4 years. And I can just move my mug here so you can see the date down here. The peak was back in 2020. So we definitely have a precipitous drop in temperature globally in the last 3 years. And a major drop in the last several months of data, which went to a high point of above 0.3 C all the way down to 0.05. And that has everything to do with Hunga Tonga. There is no warming in this data set. Whew. Space weather news update. Glad I got that off my chest. The sun is peppered with sunspots. Here is the latest HMI intensity, as should be expected as we are in solar max for the next, let's say, 36 months or so, and then we'll drop off a cliff. But we have a major sunspot in Plage turning around the limb. This is significant in the sense that it is the largest sunspot we've seen in solar cycle 25. So what will it bring us? Well, we've just had a long duration, low-level M flare. So this could be a sign of things to come. I don't know where that occurred from. Don't have enough time to go look at it. But the Aurora Watch could be kicking up a notch because the BZ component of the Interplanetary Magnetic Field, or the IMF, is currently tilted south at negative 10 nanoteslas. And the solar wind speed is somewhat elevated near, well, it says here 475 kilometers per second, but that's blasted above that. So let's take a look at where we are now and refresh it for the latest data. Oh, we're not even going to get it. Look at that. Look at how that works. Let's see if we can get this back. Well, it took a little bit, but we got the Discover Solar Wind cache back up there because we dumped our current cache. And you can see here a massive spike in the solar wind going from 400 to 550 kilometers per second. It's now dropping off precipitously, but this little spike could translate into an aurora blast in just a few moments. So if you're out there, like swimwear, go out there in the sub-auroral region in the next few hours of powers, because this baby may light up because of this recent spike in the last few hours in the solar wind speed. And stay tuned for more updates on space weather. Lawmakers cause for a suspension of offshore wind activities after another dead whale washes up in Brigantine. This is in New Jersey. A dead 20-foot humpback whale washed up on the beach in Brigantine on Thursday. This is after many others. The latest discovery led state and federal lawmakers to call for the suspension of all offshore wind activities until a cause for the marine mammal's death is determined. There have been many animals washing up on New Jersey shores as they are trying to save the planet with their nonsensical offshore turbines, which barely produce enough energy to light a light bulb. Now, Jersey residents reporting a loud, sustained rumbling. This isn't the first time. This has been reported in the last several years. All of the occurrences have been unexplained. It's insane. And this is the first time we've actually shown ourselves on the show for quite some time. So I hope you all are getting a kick out of it. Now, a loud, sustained rumbling shook residents and buildings along the Jersey shore on Friday afternoon, leading some to speculate on social media that an earthquake could be to blame. Others speculated it was aliens, and some could even think it was deep underground military bases being blasted out. Let's see what the lamestream has to say.
Questions still being asked tonight about a loud noise that was heard all across North New Jersey.
We first reported on it on Wednesday afternoon, so exactly what was it? We sent CBS 2's Christine Sloan out to see if she could find anything.
At this strip mall in Oakland, New Jersey, Michael Mikulich was getting into his car Wednesday afternoon when something didn't seem right.
That's when I heard the boom.
His service dog was by his side.
She kind of put her ears back and looked at me like, whoa, what was that?
This Franklin Lakes resident says her daughter called her frightened.
Well, she was sitting in her room and she said she heard the lamp shake. and she felt the house kind of move a little bit, and she didn't know what was going on.
The loud boom and vibration heard across northern New Jersey at around 12:30 Wednesday. Hundreds of residents posting comments on this volcano discovery forum. One person saying, "Heard a loud noise that made us literally search the horizon for a mushroom cloud. We thought we were being bombed." Some questioning if the sound came from a quarry in Riverdale, just off of Route 287, or the one in Mount Hope.
And there's explosions going on all the time.
We've learned there was no activity at the Riverdale quarry. Others wondering if the rumbling came from the Picatinny Arsenal, the U.S. Army research base in Rockaway Township. A spokesperson tells us their only activity was at 2:30 that afternoon when they disposed of munitions. The U.S. Geological Survey said it wasn't an earthquake either. Pilot and travel expert Peter Trabucco has some hunches.
Temperature inversion, sonic booms, weather conditions. There's always the possibility that it could be something from an old skunk works thing where the military has black ops, and it could be something they're working on, experimental.
Back in 2016, a loud rumbling heard in southern New Jersey turned out to be not from the ground, but a fighter jet on a naval exercise that caused a sonic boom. Similar loud noises and vibrations were heard last year in South and Central Jersey. The source of those noises, still a mystery. In Oakland, New Jersey, Christine Sloan, CBS 2 News.
So the mystery continues in New Jersey, and anything is possible there. It could be a meth lab. But I do digress. See, the largest known flower preserved in amber, and it's not New Jersey. Aided by modern technology, researchers discovered the prehistoric blossom was a case of mistaken identity. Yes, this gorgeous flower here measures just roughly an inch across and is at least 3 times larger than any other known flower in amber. And this blossom is amazing. But in 1872, scientists examined the large fossilized flower preserved in amber from a mine in Russia, and they identified it as the extinct flower evergreen plant named Stewartia Kowalowiski. And then for 150 years, the immortalized blossom sat in a museum unstudied. But it got restudied and renamed into a new genus and species, Simplicos Kowalowiski. So they just had the genus off. And so amazing find here. Let's take a look at this in high def. Look at that flower. You can see the pistils and the stamens and the petals. Just amazing. This flower is tens of millions of years old. Now, Janet Yellen warns the U.S. default risk by early June is looming and urges a debt limit hike. This could be the first time in world history that the U.S. defaults on its debt, which has been rising exponentially, now into the $31.4 trillion realm. So, will this be a flexure point to when we go full digital? It's anyone's guess, but the digital market exploded just 12 hours ago. Bitcoin rising now over 20%. Well, here we are at almost 11% in the last, let's just take a look at this, few hours. So major upticks in the crypto market, now at a $1 trillion cap. So things are afoot. Could it have to do with this debt limit that we're reaching in just a few months? It's anyone's guess, but ride the wave. Speaking of the wave, tomorrow is another episode of Cosmic Catastrophe on Revolution Radio, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the interwebs. And Leah and I are going to finally be doing the expose on Göbekli Tepe and the fact that Pillar 43 contains some very important information and cosmology, which is warning us about this comet right here. There it is. The bird is warning us. Now, we're going to begin the podcast with the chronology of early pre-pottery Neolithic in the Fertile Crescent, and we will end with the big reveal on the fact that Göbekli Tepe is an astronomical observatory for watching comets. and that's a boom, to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Our ancient relatives, 12,000 years ago, were archaeoastronomers living in advanced societies that have never been given credit for. Tomorrow afternoon, Lee and I are going to give them credit that they are due. So join us on Revolution Radio for the awesome episode of Cosmic Catastrophe with Leah and Diamond. And one other thing, we have secured interviews with Valentina Zarkova early next week, and we will be on Anders Bowling's show, Mind the Shift, later in the month. So stay tuned for more Boom. Become a Patreon. Support the work we do. We love you. Be safe.